tool list. Okay, so bookkeeping and business management, like how much does it actually cost to start a bookkeeping business, and like what to buy. Okay, so I like to think of this like when you're beginning the business into two separate categories. Okay, so before your first client, after your first client. Okay, so before your first client, I would really just focus on what is going to make the business move as effectively as possible. Okay, so I am not a big fan for spending money on stuff that's not really going to lead to me getting my first client. I'm going to skip a website. Okay, please skip the website in the beginning. It's not really going to do what you think it's going to do. A lot of people, what happens is like you do a sales call, and if you're very nervous about stuff, then you're like, I need this, I need that, I need that. And when you're in a consultation call, people can sense you're nervous or they just aren't really ready to work with you, and they blame it on weird random stuff instead of telling you the truth. So like in their mind, I don't want to work with this person. This person's not confident. This person's price too high. Blah blah. Oh, do you have a website? They're like, oh my gosh, they didn't buy from me because I didn't have a website. No, they just didn't want to insult you because they know you're new and they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to make you like feel bad. I know it sounds weird. It's like we're all adults here, but like most people who are like in business are not trying to belittle or mess with people's confidence, especially because if they remember like what they felt like when they were starting the business. No one wants to just like eviscerate your confidence, right? So it's not, you didn't lose a client because you didn't have a website. You didn't lose a client because you didn't have business cards, or you've only been in business for a day. That's not what's important, okay? But you as the business owner have to be very headstrong and getting what you want. The first stage of learning how to grow your business is being able to get what you want. If you can get good at that, doesn't matter what you have. I didn't have a website for the first probably 1.5 to like $2 million that I had collected from business, right? Didn't have a website. Now, it can be argued I still don't really have a website. It can be argued. I use a lot of pseudo websites and stuff, and like they're called landing pages. But that was after I already had a really good number of clients. Now, next thing, okay, so before you're starting and like before you get your first client, I would really focus on like direct outreach, right? So we have what's called a mailer campaign. We tell you like how to actually mail stuff out to people. So if you want to do that's optional, but that would cost you about $300 per mailing campaign. We usually have people do maybe like one, and maybe you can spend like $10, $20, $100. Doesn't really matter, but that's probably like the max I would say you should budget for, $300 for that. Next thing is going to be like different social media tools. So there's different research tools like Apollo. There's another tool called Sales Navigator. There's a ManyChat for Instagram. There's a lot of different like online tools. Really, the main tool I would be focused on is like your LinkedIn Sales Navigator. That costs about $119 a month. Now, I can hear some people watch like shudder and like just gasp. It's yeah, but if you're really trying to start a business, like, and you're not trying to pay like money to start the business, you're not really serious about being in a business. I'm not saying like you're not serious like in a mean way, but it's like your expectations are too wrong. Like you have to get out of that thought process of this like an infinite money glitch where it's like you put in 1 unit of effort, $1, and you get $1 million back. That's not how business works. Even think about it, you don't go to a farmer and be like the farmer, hey, if I plant one thing of corn, will I be able to have a huge farm like you? They would look at you like you're crazy. So it's all proportional. How much you put in is how much you're going to get out, right? Now, with Sales Navigator, there's different things we can do so that you don't have to keep spending that $119 per month. But what I'm saying is there's two different types of people, right? There's some people that just overpay for everything. Like they buy a website, they have 50,000 tools, they're already in the whole $2,000 a month before they ever got a client. And there's the other ones where it's like they spend like $0, right? Next thing, so even your accounting software, so your bookkeeping software of like QuickBooks Online, that's free to sign up for, and you should not be paying for it. Like, don't get like an actual like client-facing one where it's like $30 a month, $80 a month, etc., etc. Get the accountant's version so you don't have to pay for it. Now, the one expense you will have, and like this is not really a tool. It's more of like just invest in some sort of like mentorship or some kind of course, okay? Almost everybody watching this video, if you're watching YouTube videos to grow your business, you probably should invest in some kind of course. Let's just be honest. It's not that, and it's not the reason why you think. It's just that if you're watching YouTube, a lot of times the information's there, but just out of order, and it's very conflicting. So by getting a course, you're paying for a complete set of information. Even better than that, be like some kind of coaching, right? Because then instead of buying a course is generally information, which is good, but implementation. So actually implementing the stuff that you know you need to do, and like how do you actually do it. The what to do, I think a lot of people understand that. The how to do it, that's what you really pay the big bucks for when it comes to like mentorship and coaching and consulting. Now, one thing to note, like, be on the lookout for is, okay, if you're gonna invest in something, like you want to learn the commoditized knowledge, right? Let's say the basic bookkeeping. I would say it's very commoditized. They teach that in almost every college. They have some accounting 101, accounting 202, and like they have that in their accounting degree program. Okay, you can find those kind of courses on YouTube. Same thing with like on YouTube, but again, on YouTube it's just too randomized, right? Man. So I would get like a very inexpensive course to learn the bookkeeping, at least the basics. Okay, what you really want to pay for in a mentorship is speed to getting your first client, as well as like marketing and sales skills. So you want to pay for the skill set that gets you the closest to the dollars. Now, someone would argue, okay, so wouldn't learning bookkeeping be the skill set that gets me closest to the dollars? Not necessarily, because if you sell a client first, so let's say you sell a client but you don't want to do bookkeeping, right? You have the money. So what was the skill set really matter? Finding the client and getting them to give you money, right? You can learn bookkeeping, or you can spend half of that money that you got for that first client and go and find a better bookkeeper to do the work for you. So you might pay them $250 for a $500 client, because a $500 client might only take you like 1 to 2 hours. So it's like, you don't necessarily need to learn the skill set of bookkeeping. You want to have an okay fundamental like understanding, or at least of what is the end goal of the bookkeeping, so you can overwatch someone else. But bookkeeping itself is not necessarily a thing that gets someone to press. So again, it's just not the thing that actually got you to the dollars. So always focus on that. Always focus on that. Now, next thing. So after you get your first client, okay. So once you get my LLC, okay. So that depends on the type of client you get first. So what I like to do is I like to get good at the sales, get good at the marketing. So you pay for that, and that's what I did, right? I spent a lot of money on learning the actual sales and marketing. That was my biggest weakness. Now, once you do that, okay, now it's time to go and actually get official. Now, when I say official, I'm like legally official. I don't mean like branding official, right? So I'm still not buying the website yet. So LLC, very important. Get your insurance. So what I do is, okay, I get my first client, or if I recommend someone get their first client, you get your first client, and then you say, okay, so let me actually we're gonna do your onboarding process, but let's say you get payment on Monday. Let's do your first onboarding call next Monday. Right? That's about 7 days. That's enough time for you to go and apply for LLC. That's enough time for you to go and talk to an insurance agent to go and get insured. Then once you have the LLC paperwork back, and once you get like the insurance, then you can start doing the work on the first client, okay? But again, I didn't want to pay for that out of pocket. I wanted my client to pay for that. I wanted my business to pay for that, because that's something directly for the business. The mentorship and stuff, that's for you. The LLC and stuff is for the business. And again, you don't really want to have that until you're getting clients. I don't want to pay a lot of money specifically for the stuff that's tied directly to the business, unless the business is paying for it, okay? Next thing, document your scope plus your engagement terms. Okay, cool. So this is very important. So every time you get a client, you want to keep track. Wait, what did I do? How long did this take me? What am I expecting here? Is this a service I don't like? What did I not like about this client? How did I do this? So you always have to keep very detailed notes. But what a lot of people do is before they get their first client, they're like, I need to have my onboarding process. I need to have my SOPs. Like, they want to get all this preparation work, but it's like, it's not there. Because until you're actually doing it on real client books, it's not important. So it's like, you document your scope of work and what you're doing while you have clients. After that, you want to, again, you start building an onboarding checklist. You don't necessarily want to build like this huge onboarding workflow. Just maybe a short checklist. Everyone tries to automate things way too quickly. It's like, just do it a little messy, a little dirty for a while. Maybe after you get your third client, then you can make it more of a streamlined thing with automations. My onboarding process is still not very streamlined. It's not like, it's streamlined, but it's not automated. Okay, so I do this. Now within there, that takes me 5 minutes to do those things. 5 minutes total for onboarding. You don't need to automate it if it's just condensed and streamlined. Now mine is very perfected. We've been in business for, right now it just turned 2026. We've been in business since 2015. That's right, it's 10, 11 years in business. But when I first started, it was terrible. But it's like, clients are not gonna leave you because your onboarding is not amazing. It's focus on what makes sense, like what's important. That's it.